Alright, today we are going to learn Lang package. So, what is the Lang package? So, and why it's significant to learn this one. So, Lang package is mainly for whatever the common program, like common classes or interfaces, any common functionality to develop your application. So, those all those things will be existing in Lang package. So, this Lang package, whatever the classes, methods, or interfaces, exceptions, errors are there in this package, you don't need to be imported. Automatically, JVM while compilation time itself or JVM also will be take care of that without you import it. So these things what are it's existing in the Lang package, first have a look on it, then we will see one by one. So whatever the JDK API you have, so you can type it JDK API 1.8. So once you click on, you will get a API like this. So already we seen this API, why we required and how to use it. This is the package section. These are the classes. Okay, if you scroll down, you will be having all set of classes information. If you want to go into the specific package, you can select from here. We are talking about Lang package now. This is the java.lang package. So this java.lang package, once you select it, that associated interfaces, classes, and enum type, exceptions, errors, annotations. So these all are part of Lang package. So whatever the classes, interfaces, all of them we see in this one, you don't need to be imported. What is the meaning of import? If you remember the previous classes, so there was one import you are doing for every time. See here, this one import. Import in the sense when you are using this class, if you require to use this class, it's outside of the package. So you have to be import into your program. So in this example, you are an operator package and student is in core Java package. Inside the core Java, there is a student list is there. So that student list, see here, the student list you are using inside arithmetic operator example. So when you're going to use this outside of the package, you have to be imported. But Lang package, you don't need to be. So if you see here, this is the system. So this system class is existing in Lang package. How do you know that? Just open it. See this one. This is package java.lang. So whatever the Lang is having, all the classes and the interfaces and exceptions, you are not going to import it here. Directly you are using. So this is your student list is one of the class. It's existing in outside of the package. When you are going to use it, you import. But system also is other package. Like it's not part of this operators. It's existing in outside of that. Like it's given by the Java. So Lang related whatever the classes you don't need to be import. By default, it will take care by the operate like JVM whenever it is executing the program, and compilation time also compiler will take care of it. That is the one thing you should remember. So what are those you have? Just go through the API, then you will come to know what are those exist, and we will see few of them at here in the package level in upcoming sessions. So as of now we are seeing Lang package related. The main thing is, if you see, we have a set of Lang package classes. Those we are going to use frequently, like object class. Object class is having a set of methods. So what are those methods we will see in the next few minutes. string buffer, string builder, and wrapper classes you have, math functionality, enum, system, exception. Already this exception we seen this one at exception handling time. Annotations, set of annotations is going to be used. So we will see few of them. So the first one is object class. If you see, so object class is the super class or root class to every class, whatever the class you are going to write it. So all of those classes, object is the super class. So every class has object is a super class, and object class. So already we seen that root class, and it has a set of methods. If you see that these are the predefined methods is existing in the object. So it's total 11 methods are existing. Okay, the first one is clone, equal, get class, hash code, and so on. So these methods you can also find it in API also. If you click on the lang package, once you open that, if you click on lang package, there it will be having all the set of classes. We are seeing it object class. Once you click on the object, so it will be having all the information what is that object related, when it was introduced, and how many methods it has. So each method is having some information for that. Okay, it's a clone method, equals method. How you can use it, just you click on it, you can give, just you can see that set of information about each method. Okay, so we have total 11 methods. These all the 11 methods will be coming when you are going to use it in the program. So whatever the program you are going to write, let's see, this is my arithmetic operator example. So in this method you can see that object related methods also. Okay, so you just check it here, you can see all those method information. Second, student list dot, see this student list is one of the class. So here toString, hash code, notify all, wait and wait, and equals method, get class. See these many, whatever the m is here, m is for method. So these many methods is coming from object class. So those all of them you can see it here. So it's related to object, because object is the parent class to every class. So equals method, whatever the class you created here. Okay, so I have, let me create two fields, string name, string age. So these are the two variables is get declared here, and let's create one constructor, public object class. Sorry, this all these things I should put it outside of the, so I'm writing inside method, you should not write inside method. So this dot name, so this means this is the one I'm talking about. This means whatever it is there in the global, that will be representing. So if you're not specifying it itself, it will be calling this one, this dot age. So now my constructor is ready. So when I'm going to create the object, I can simply pass the parameters to this constructor. So here object cls, so object cls1 new object cls one of. So here I need two parameters, okay, to make this object. So the first one is name is age. It's a string type, right? So I have to be give it in the quotations, okay, double quote. So we have that concept also in the next object. We will see that string related. So age, let's 21. Let's create another object which is 2. So I have two objects. One is Raju name and another one is Ravi. So these two of them, if you compare it, so standard outer println object class dot, the first one is equals of object 2. So it should be a false because this object is different and this is the different one. Let's run it. See here, this is a different objects. So when you are going to compare, it's object based comparison we are doing. Okay, similarly you can try it another way also. String, let's take it as name 1 Raju, name 2. So here system.out.println name 1 dot equals of name 2. If you run it, see here, it's a two object string related. If you're comparing both of them, so if name 1 and name 2 are equal or not, you are going to use equals method. You passing the argument, it's a name 1 and name 2. So here it will give the return type. So when you're going to use equals method, it's always giving a boolean type. See here, the return type is boolean. So boolean is telling either true or false. So that is the default values for that. So the first one, whatever you seen, that this one is giving the false because it's two different kind of objects with a different value. So that is the reason it was giving the false, and it is giving same data we are here with the equals method we are comparing, then it gave the result as a true. So these kind of scenarios, like it's mainly for to compare two object information. So whether it is true or false, you can use equals method. This equals method is mainly for when you're going to deal with the objects. So string is one of the object class. So one of the object, like it's a string related object. This is object class is one of the our own class. So to compare the content, you can use this equals method. So you might get one doubt, that is integer a equal to 10 and integer b equal to 10. Let's take two objects with the same name. Okay, so is this a way to equal this equal method? So is no, you cannot use this because int is the primitive types, it's a primitive data types. So these things is not part of the object, so you cannot compare it. Okay, so if you try to use this one as out, so a dot equals of, if you try to write itself, okay, see here I'm getting error because integer is the primitive. So these kind of scenarios you should not use it. How you can compare these things? So you should use operator. Okay, so you have the operator, right? By using this operator you can use it. See here, this one will tell you whether it is equal or not. So primitive types will be different. You should not use this equals method. Equals is only for object related comparison, you can do that. So the data comparison, not for object related, whichever the data you are having, data comparison. The second thing is equals, we seen that the finalized, you can see it at garbage collector. Get class, if you see the get class, I'm just removing this one. So the next thing is get class. So get class is just, you can use it directly like object class dot. So get class of, so it will give you the class name, whatever the class you are going to use it. See here, it's a complete package class, whatever the class you're using. This is the package and followed by your class name. So object one used. So then this class name information is going to be displayed. That is the get class related. So just we seen earlier is equals method. So this is the get class. This next thing is hash code. Hash code also you can use it directly. Object one dot hash code. Try to print it. So whatever the backend JVM is given, that number is printing. See here, this is the one it internally has given to this object one class. The next hash code, if you see the second one, both will be different hash codes. See here, the second object hash code is different. So at backend JVM, whenever it is running, JVM is going to be allot some number for that. So that number is going to tell that where this object, whatever the object class with the reference is class 1 is stored in the memory. So that memory details will be giving this one. So this is one of the memory location is existing this object, and the second object is existing in this memory location. Okay, so that kind of information will be giving by hash code. So that hash code you can also override it. So how you can override, you have to create one hash code method, so then that will be overriding one. Okay, so if you want to do that overriding, you just copy that hash code signature, outside of the method, then write it on top of, you can write override. So still it has some issue. Hash code as the public, so it is integer type, right? So here I'm going to be return some value. Okay, let's return value as 2345. Sorry, it is number. So this one, whatever the memory was allotted initially, so now was overridden. So whatever JVM has given initially, that hash code you don't need to be use it. You can specify your own hash code, but this is not the right approach because I have two objects. So object class 1, object class 2. So this object class 1 and object class 2, you're just overriding whatever the first object it has. So changing with the same hash code for the second one also. So this is not the correct approach. So internally what you have to do, for each object you need to pass some value. So based on that, it's going to be changing that hash code information. So whatever the information you are passing inside the hash code, that should be a unique. So it should not be overriding. Okay, so that is one thing you should use. The second thing is here I use the override is annotation. This override annotation already it's part of lang package. If you see that annotations, there was one override is there. So this override is mainly for whatever the superclass methods you have, that superclass methods, if you want to use it in your child class, you should use override. Override, you are explicitly telling to the JVM, is this particular class method, the signature is coming from my parent class. So you have not given any parent at here, but how that parent is coming? So by default, object is the parent to every class. That is the reason you are able to override it. Okay, so that is for overriding annotation and hash code information. The next thing is, let's go back to the object class. So here we see get host hash code and notify all. This will be coming at the time of thread concept. I will cover at the time. So the next toString method. So toString method. So toString method, just have a look before toString and after toString how the program result will be. So in this toString method, so let's call that object class one dot toString. Okay, method. If you see the toString method here, so toString when you are going to use package and followed by the class appends with some number. See here, some number get appended at next 3039. You are not able to read it. Okay, so what the toString is going to tell that whatever the object you have, so that object information if you want it to be display, okay, so whoever is using that with that particular data, so you can use the toString method. So internally toString method when you use, it's calling from object class. So object class what it is giving, so this object class is telling that toString method. Once again, so toString method, so internally it is giving get class, that means class name followed by at, then hash code it is giving. Okay, so this hash code is going to be generate appending with the at then class name. So this is by default will give you when you are going to use toString. This value is coming from object class. So that is the information it's coming. That is the reason you are able to see this one. So get class information is like this, then append with the at symbol and followed by the hash code. If you rerun it, the same thing, you can see another number earlier 30 39. Okay, so memory will be alerting to the same number. That is the reason you are seeing this hash code information. So this toString you can override it like hash code. So how the program will execute, whenever you are executing this program, first it will look for this internal class. So is there any same method implemented? So hash code when you are using, so before and after you seen that. So before writing this hash code, it was calling parent class hash code. So when you write this one, first your program looking into your class. If it is not having, then it will look for parent class. So that is the chain it will be. Okay, so if you overriding, it will be using whenever that object is calling. Similarly, we have to use this toString method. So toString method is signature is public string and followed by toString. So the same thing we are going to writing it here, public as a string toString. This is the same signature we are using at using override. So you are telling that whatever the signature is coming from object class, you reuse it, then writing your own implementation. So this concept is nothing but overriding. Already we covered this concept. So overriding concept already we did it. Just you can refresh it once. So this overriding toString method is signature is coming from parent class. So I am going to be override. So here name. So just put it return. So name plus name object and age. So whenever the object toString is calling, at the time you are printing that object associated name and age. Okay, so let's run this one, and before that let's add one more entry for toString. So if you run, you should see this information, name and age related information. See here, this output, initially it was having some hash code information. Now if you see this toString method, it's giving name and followed by the age. Okay, so this is for toString related. The next thing is weight, and this all weight related is part of thread concept. There is one, it's left, it's clone related. See the clone. Okay, so here this clone information will be giving a exception, that is clone not support exception. So if it is not possible to clone it, okay, then you can see this clone not support exceptions. Okay, clone is nothing but you may heard that cloning in the sense same set of object is going to be created with existing one. Okay, so that is nothing but a clone. Okay, so cloning, let's try to create one clone object. We will see that it's a very rare to use that cloning concept. Let's see how we can do that cloning concept. Just one second. This is out. So here it's giving error. So this error is nothing but add exception method signature or surrender the try catch. So as I said earlier, when you use the clone method, it will give exception, that's clone not support exception. So to handle this one, either you can use throws concept or try catch. Okay, so in this scenario, let's run this one. See, it has given clone not support exception. To handle this one, you have to be typecast. Let's get run. Still it is giving clone not support. Okay, so this class should be having implements clonable. So you are telling that yes, this class able to clone it. So to get that clone ability, you have to be use implement clonable. See here, there is no error now. So when you are going to dealing with the clone concept, first you should tell that class with the clonable behavior. So how you can get this object class will be having cloning feature, implements clonable, and another thing is you have to be add try catch for that. So then only you are able to be clone this object. So now this object is having the cloning feature. So this one, just you can just separate it outside. I'm going to be assign this class to object class 3. Already 2 we have, right? So like this. So whatever the object class 1 you have, so this object class 1, the same thing you are cloning. So you are cloning. Then if you display that object class 3 dot to string, let's print that what object is having. So then you will able to know that what object 3 is having. See, the first one to string is giving name is Raju and 21. The clone related last one is Raju and age 21. So this is the same way you can clone it. That means whatever the object you have, that object you are creating similarly, that the same object is creating. But one thing you should remember, when you are cloning, that particular class should be implemented with the clonable. If it's not implemented with clonable, let's remove this one. What is the result? It will be giving exception. So the exception is clone not support exception, you will get it. So to avoid this problem, first your class should be having that cloning ability. So to get that ability, you have to be implement this one. Implement a clonable. So when you run it, then you can able to get the result. Okay, that is the cloning related. So clone we seen that equal finalize will be coming at garbage collector. Okay, at the time I will cover this one. Get class already we seen, hash code we seen, notify all is part of thread concept. ToString is already we covered. Wait, another wait long with a parameter, and wait timeout under nano is part of thread. So these all are the methods